So let's look at an example. So in this case, we're looking at rooms in New Orleans and rooms in Phoenix. It's important right away that we go ahead and we mark down what our mu1 is. In this case, we'll just call it New Orleans. And mu2, we'll just call that Phoenix. And if you want to write all the terms out, you can write those words all the way out. In this case, we want to set up our null and our alternative ahead of time. Significant difference. Think about what that means for a second. What is my alternate hypothesis going to be? So as I write, go ahead and think about what you're going to put, because we know that our null hypothesis is going to be mu1 equals mu2, indicating that the rates are the same. So then the question is, what is my alternate? Well, we know it's going to have mu1 on one side and mu2 on the other. We know that for a fact. But what do you think significant difference means? Hopefully you remember from all the stuff we've done so far, that's a not equal to. So we're thinking about a two-sided test down here. So when I go ahead and I decide if it's a z or a t, and I'm looking at this at a 5% significance, that will help me get my critical values. Here's what I want you to do. Knowing that New Orleans is 1 and Phoenix will be my 2's, go ahead and get the information from this and figure out what your x bar 1, your x bar 2, your standard deviations, and your sample sizes will be. Hopefully that's the information that you put down. So now we're going to have to go through this, and we're going to want to find our test statistic. And don't forget from the initial interviews, we talked about the test statistic come from the formula that's written right up here. So go ahead and plug those values in while I do it here too. So again, hopefully that's what you have when you plugged everything in. Be careful that you didn't forget to put the squares in there. So it's 5.62 squared, 4.83 squared. And don't forget the whole square root on the bottom. That's going to be key here. So when you put this into your calculator, and again, go ahead and do that, you should end up with a very large test statistic of 7.67. So now we're going to figure out, the same way we did before with the one sample testing, is that a reject or is that a fail to reject? Well, we're talking about a 5% significance. We're talking about it being two-sided. This is clearly a z-test because both of my sample sizes are large. So now you're going to go to your calculator. Think about how you do that. I'm not going to tell you. And you're going to get your critical values. And your critical values are going to be positive and negative 1.96. So now ask yourself this question. Is this a reject or fail to reject? And what does that mean? Pause the video right here, ask yourself those questions, and then start again when you think you have an answer. Hopefully this is the information that you decided. Since we're in the critical region, we're going to reject the null hypothesis. Since we reject the null, we're basically saying this is not going to be true. At least our data suggests that. So the data does indicate that there is a significant difference between the, and again, don't forget the word average rates in the two cities. Let's check out another example.